welcome back to Hair Care Sunday, where I help you connect with yourself through your hair. Whoop whoop, whoop whoop, whoop whoop, whoop whoop. So, last week we spoke about porosity. How many have done their porosity test? I'm judging you if you haven't. Only kidding, but seriously, do you have a hair porosity test? You thank me later. This week we're focusing on deep conditioning. What is deep conditioning? Deep conditioning is what a marinade is to chicken. It's what water is to beans. You know when you soak beans for a long time in water? That was for my vegetarians. I just needed to cover all bases just in case. But it's what marinade is to chicken. And so that's what it is. So today I'm going to tell you 4 do's and don'ts of deep conditioning. Number 1, do it regularly. Yep, do it regularly. And by regularly, I mean at least once a week. And if you're starting your natural hair journey, I'll go as far as saying twice a week. Deep conditioning is your foundation. And if your foundation is not right, anything else that you try and build upon that is just not going to work. Yeah, that went very deep very quickly. But in all honesty, like deep conditioning is your foundation. And so, make sure you deep condition once a week at the very least. Your hair will talk to you though. Your hair will tell you what it needs. When it's dry, it will tell you. When it's too moisturized, it will tell you as well, and I'll talk about that a bit later. So number 1 is do it regularly. Number 2 is use heat, and by that I don't mean use straighteners. We are not about straightening our hair with straighteners. That's a no-no. That's a big no-no. But what I do mean is when you're deep conditioning, incorporate heat. So either you wear a plastic cap and you chill in the sun for 30 minutes, 20 to 30 minutes, or you use a hair bonnet. I use a hair bonnet where it's a bonnet that my hair dryer attaches at the end of it, and so I put it on low medium, and then the hot air comes through my bonnet and I sit under it for 30 minutes. I like that because it's a time that forces me to just be still because I can't do anything. I'm stuck to that place. But then if you have a more active lifestyle, you've got kids, you've got things to do, you can buy a thermal bonnet where you pop it in the microwave and then you pop it on your head for 30 minutes with a plastic cap on. What are you doing? You're cooking your hair. Heat is what the fridge or a cool, dry place is to your marinated chicken. You get the drift? So number 1, do it regularly. Number 2, use heat. Number 3 is balance protein and moisture. And I know this one can be a bit complicated, it's like, protein and moisture, something else to think about. But simply put, think about it as a plant, right? If you water a plant too much, there is such a thing as over watering a plant. It will die. So think of your hair as a plant. If you put too much moisture in it, it will just become weak and limp, and it won't hold its curls, and it just won't be good. So protein then brings structure and it brings strength. And so what I would recommend is that for 3 weeks in a month you're doing moisture treatment, and then for 1 week you're doing protein. However, if you have high porosity hair, it tends to love protein, so you can probably get away with balancing it out. So saying 1 week you do moisture, the next week you do protein, and alternating that way. This is good because when you're balancing it out like that, you are covering things like length retention and the hair length, and you're avoiding breakage, and you're just feeding your hair all the good stuff. So that's number 3. Balance it out. I actually for my moisturizing one, I use the Curl Smith Deep Quencher one, and then for my protein one, I use the Niche protein one. And so that's what I do. 3 weeks I'm using the deep quencher, and then for 1 week I'm using the protein. And so it doesn't have to be complicated. So that's number 3. Number 4 is, do focus on your ends. And that might be like, what? But your ends are the oldest part of your hair. And so when you're actually applying your deep conditioner, you need to start from your ends, because then you're giving your ends more time to soak in all the nutrients, as opposed to starting from your roots. So do focus on your ends, because they need it the most. Think about it. The ends are the oldest part. They've been there the longest. So those are our 4 do's. Do it regularly. What was number 2? What was number 2? Help me. Do use heat, balance protein and moisture, and focus on your ends. Right, the don'ts. Number 1, don't overdo it. Okay, I'm going to come into your business now. I'm going to step on some toes. There is no real reason that you should have your deep conditioner in your hair for more than 30 minutes. I'm sorry. I know some of you like sleeping with your deep conditioning stuff in your hair overnight, or have it in your hair the whole day. But think about it. You're having moisture in your hair for such an extended period of time. It almost becomes a breeding ground for other things, right? If the bottle says have it in your hair for 20 to 30 minutes, if they have written this, they are actually obligated to fulfill what they've written on the label. And so if you're not getting results in 20 to 30 minutes, then you need to change the product that you're using. Obviously, our hair is different. If you have found that having deep conditioner in your hair overnight and for the whole day is helping you, then go ahead. But I would not recommend it. So don't overdo it. Number 2, don't multitask. And what do I mean by that? A deep conditioner is a deep conditioner. And it's filled with so many high concentrated ingredients. Ingredients with high concentration. And so if you now start thinking, okay, I want to use my deep conditioner as my leave-in conditioner or as my co-wash, you're going to get a lot of product buildup. So your deep conditioner is your deep conditioner, and it needs to be washed out. It's not your leave-in. I've heard and I've seen some people who leave their deep conditioner in their hair and make it act as a leave-in. That's not its purpose. So don't multitask. Use it to deep condition your hair. Number 3, don't blow your budget. Yeah, there are a lot of marketing gimmicks out there. You know, there are deep conditioners that are just really expensive. But then the thing is, what you need to realize is the first 5 at a stretch, first 10 ingredients are the ingredients that will actually help your hair. Like, if you are after lavender or tea tree oil and it's number 32 on the ingredients list, you might as well buy a cheaper deep conditioner and buy the tea tree separately. It will be way cheaper than buying a 45-pound deep conditioner with lavender as the 35th ingredient. It's not going to be as effective. So don't fall for the marketing gimmicks, really. And the last one is, don't invite bacteria. I know there are people out there who like doing the avos and the yogurts, and that's great. My hats off to you. You are the real MVPs. However, when you're doing your DIYs, please make sure that you're measuring enough for that day. Like, don't be keeping your deep conditioning stuff in your fridge for days on end, because you're inviting bacteria and you don't need that. So that's that. So those are the 4 don'ts, right? Don't overdo it, don't multitask, don't blow your budget, and don't invite bacteria. So yeah, that's it for me, ladies. Let's start deep conditioning weekly. I want to hear that you're deep conditioning weekly. And if you come to me talking about dry hair, the first question I'm going to ask you is, are you deep conditioning weekly? Right, that's all from me. If you want to find out a bit more about me and what I get up to during the week, you can follow me on my Instagram handle, which is precious_2_him. So yeah, come follow me on Instagram and let's have a party. That's all from me from now, and I'll see you